As always.
Good evening, Melrosians the world over. I'm Tom Catalini.
I'm Jen LeClaire.
I'm Sam Hammer.
And I'm Tom Shampoo.
And this is Let's Talk Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrosians about Melrose. And we have an extra hour to do that this week, right? Because we fell back.
Yes, we did.
So Melrose, we have an extra hour of being Melrosians in Melrose this week. It's wonderful. What did you do with it, Tom?
What did you do with all your Melrose time?
I got up at 2 a.m. when you turned the clocks back, and I just sat there and lived my life for an hour.
Did you physically have to turn your clocks back?
So I'll tell you why I didn't do that, because if I got up and turned it back, I'd get at 2 a.m., then it would turn to 3 a.m. again, and I would turn it back, and I would keep going, and I'd be right. Stuck at 2 a.m. forever.
It sounds like a children's novel or something like a kid's book.
Yes.
That's crazy.
But it's true. I do feel extra tired this week. I don't know why that happens, but I do feel like I'm thrown off. My dog is thrown off because he likes to eat in the morning at 6 a.m., get up, go to the bathroom outside. And now it's 5 a.m. waking us up. So it's all thrown off. Everything's a mess.
Well, I didn't have one analog clock to change. So I had spent my hour dreaming about living in Melrose. So
fabulous.
Dreaming about your co-host?
Time well spent. Yeah, when will I possibly get to be with these guys again?
Right? Yeah, not on Sundays anymore because they all have better things to do.
Well,
not necessarily.
That was a downside. It was an extra hour between shows. That was a tough hour in many ways.
So I'll tell you what we did before the clocks change. Half of the panel here went to a couple really fun art openings this weekend in Melrose. The arts were alive and well in Melrose. We went to so Tom and Linda were there, and saw some other neighbors. We went to the Melrose Open Studios opening reception at the Beebe Estate. Saw and met some of the artists there that are going to be exhibiting later for Open Studios, and also Follow Your Art had a gallery opening for a show that they have in their galleries right now, where they have a pretty active writers group, and they've paired their artists with their writers, and they prompt one another. So the writer will write something, and then the artist has to respond visually to what the writer has produced, and then vice versa. So the artist shows a painting, and then the writer responds to the work. It was and they were drawn randomly. It was a really cool concept. It was really interesting.
It was great to do. I enjoyed Jane Roper had a couple of pieces in there, the writer, and I thought she did a great job. Everyone did a great job. I mean, the one thing that I came away with Friday night doing both of those openings was that Melrose is a really talented and artistic lot of people. So congratulations to everybody who participated in that.
Yeah.
So it sounds fantastic, cool. And it reminds me of a fun family game called Scribblish. I don't know if you've ever done this. So you write a sentence and you pass it to the next person, and they have to read it and then draw out the picture, and then the next person can only see the picture, and they convert it back to words, and you keep going around the table. It's like a telephone game.
Oh,
and you
that's really weird. So there's copyright infringement somewhere, because we have the same game, and it's in concept, and it's called Telestrations, and it's exactly that. You go back and forth around the table. That's
someone's going
to get sued.
You know, it reminds me of my favorite holiday movie, It's a Wonderful Life. Someone's going to jail, and it's not going to be me. All right. So speaking of going places, I had a unique opportunity this week to go into the woods with Tom Shampoo.
And look at that.
It was everything you would expect and more. And so here's the deal. There's, if you're doing some work from home or whatever at lunchtime, maybe you want to go get some exercise. Tom's what we call a woodsman. He's very agile and.
Was this today, by the way? Was this today?
No, this was last week.
Oh, okay.
This was last week. And a couple of us went on a hike and figured, all right, let's go for a hike, get some fresh air, whatever.
It's a great thing.
It was a complete mind-blowing education, and the whole Tom Shampoo experience. I struggled to pull out the camera and capture some of this. We've edited it up into 60 seconds with Tom Shampoo, and just so that you can maybe get a flavor of it. Let's see if we can.
I'm intrigued.
Fire this up.
I
Perfect.
come up here 300 days a year hiking. Over 10 years, that's 3,000 trips up in the fells. That's it. That's how you learn the trail. If you look up here, there's the reservoir and the berm, and they can control the flow of the water coming out of the reservoir. Here's where it goes. And when they open that up, all this can run down across the street, and that becomes the waterfall cascade over on the Melrose side of the fells. And here's our marker that makes the distinction between Melrose, which is over here, and then this part is Malden, and this part is Stoneham. And we're out here hiking along, enjoying our Tri-City cross. And the Fellsway is over there, just beyond there. And so everything between here and the fells, this strip running north and south, is where all the deer hang out. So you'll see lots of deer in the fall, like right now. If we're quiet, but we're not quiet. So the deer, especially with the antlers, they knock trees over about that height. See that tree right there knocked over? That's what they do. They get in there and they like knock it over. So this is all deer trail right here. Ha!
I mean, what's better than that?
What a jackass! That's obnoxious. Oh my God.
Oh, it was fantastic. I disagree, sir. It was fantastic.
I can attest.
All that stuff is made up anyway, so who knows, you know?
I wouldn't know the difference. But you know what? I would pay for the ticket. I'd pay the same money for the ticket because it was an enjoyable experience. I care not about the knowledge, sir. The experience was phenomenal.
So, Catalini, while you were up there, because I've been in the woods with Tom as well, did he teach you how to break wood between trees?
So I have to say my retention and comprehension is rather low. I would say overall. So
I literally break wood.
I was focused on videography and capturing the moment to share it with the world. But in all seriousness, I mean, you guys know Tommy. People know him on the show. He knows everything, and it's just great at sharing knowledge. And it was so he was
enjoys doing it.
Enjoys doing it. He was so enthusiastic, and he knows all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I thought I was just walking around in the woods, and meanwhile, it was like a whole education. So just to give the folks of Melrose, first of all, 60 seconds of the Tom Shampoo experience, and then to encourage you to go up.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
And check it out and see it and go. And, Tom learned the hard way. He's gone up there thousands of times. Yeah. And you learn your way around, and it really is great. It's very easy to ignore, but it's very much worth going up there. So,
So watching that was funny because it reminded me that I'm like my dad. My dad is the exact same way. Like always like pointing and showing and talking about stuff. So sorry about that. I'm sorry you had to.
The deer antler, I think, was my favorite. I think that's going to be the dance craze this year.
The deer antler. Oh man!
Oh my God!
Oh dear!
Amazing. Sorry, I missed that. That looks amazing. Oh dear! Oh dear! It's time for the news.
We would pay people. You should charge for people to do that. I mean, it's quite an experience, and the Friends of the Fells should take you up on that. Or
volunteer for the Friends of the Fells.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep.
Tours by Tom. Tours by Tom. Look at that. I'll have a T-shirt made.
Perfect. Oh, done. Sam's on it.
All right.
We ready for the news?
We're ready.
We are.
So there was an election when last we met, and I think we might have even had the results then. So just the only contested election was the school committee. So 4 folks ran for 3 seats, and John Connolly was the odd man out with only about 1,200 votes, and the rest of the women who were running got 2,000-ish votes each. And it's interesting looking at the stats because there was 109 write-ins, most likely all said Tom Shampoo. And then there were so of the 3,344 votes cast, 6 were overvotes. So somebody just checked them all. But there were 1,727. Almost half of them were undervotes. That's the old-fashioned bullet, I think.
Bullet vote, right?
Bullet vote. So it's very fascinating to see the data analytics in a very kind of uneventful election.
So can I just add a quick funny story? So Friday night we were out at these two art events, and we're in public and close quarters. So I had just gotten my hair cut a little bit shorter. We had masks on. I had my winter coat on, so I'm a little bit bundled up. 2 people, one at one event and one at the other event, congratulated me on my school committee win.
Oh, right. There's a lot of Jennifers.
There's a couple of Jens,
Jennifers.
So I think they thought I looked like Jen. I think I was mistaken for Jen McAndrew. So Jen McAndrew, if you're watching this, or if you see this and you ever need a body double, if it's getting dicey over there,
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. I don't know if
I'm not doing it, yeah.
I think it is dicey on this. I can't even believe people are running for the school committee.
But congratulations to her.
Yeah.
And thank you.
And
All
yes,
the gens.
exactly.
All of the
All
school
gens.
committee gens.
Congratulations. I'll take the congratulations and pass them on. That were It's very
Right. I
funny.
feel like
So that was
like
funny.
I'd be good mostly at the ceremonial portion of the job, and then I would delegate the rest.
Yes.
That's the key. That's the key to true leadership, Mike, not Tom, is to delegate.
Yep.
Yes.
So what else is happening this week? Melrose Veterans Day is on Thursday, and there will be a small ceremony at 11 a.m. at the Vietnam Reflection Area at the Knoll, and then moving over to the Vietnam Memorial on Main Street. And there's a newly restored honor roll out in front of the old school, which is, I don't know what it's called now, but right across from El Pond, and the building kind of across from El Pond. That was recently restored. So.
And coinciding, don't forget about the Melrose Veterans Services.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
We'll be holding a food drive at Melrose Shaw's Supermarket on Saturday, November 13th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So good chance to, that makes it easy to just sort of pick up a few extra things and
Yes.
put them in the bin, I assume.
Yes.
That's how that works.
Speaking of food
Yes,
drives,
thank you.
I'm watching you type that in right now. Go ahead, Sam.
Live editing as we speak.
The Melrose.
We're
Together-
making the news. We're reporting the news and making the news.
That's right.
Melrose Together team is back with the Give a Gobble, which is where you family commits to buying a meal kit for a family in need at Housing Families. The website is up at melrosetogether.com, where you can sign up, get the shopping list, take the shopping list, go shopping, and put a meal kit together for a family in need. And
Drop off on the 18th at the temple.
Drop off
Our
the 18th at the temple.
partners at the temple.
Yep, 10 to noon. If you can't make it, just let us know and we can make accommodations. So, but it's good. It's good stuff. Did you sign up, Catalina, again?
Not yet. I did get the email, and I do want to do it again. I have to say it was fun. So I like Housing Families, and I think we talked about this last year. It's actually kind of rewarding to go out and physically do the stuff and put it in a bag. And when it dropped it off, you guys were doing a great job organizing. There was a lot of energy. I almost got a parking ticket, but other than that, it's you got to be efficient over
I think
there.
that was for Give a Jingle that you almost got a parking ticket. But I think you hit on something, Tom, that people really want to help, very tangibly and intentionally, and it is fun to kind of put something together. I think I would advise, though, I'm hearing kind of go early, hit that shopping list early this year because of all the supply chain issues. There's some stuff flying off the shelves. Yeah. And I think especially that sort of shelf stable kind of stuff, it might be a little tricky. So get out there and get it done.
Oh, good to know. And then Michelle Carson, I just posted, it went over everyone's face. So at Buckaloo's, they will be celebrating Veterans Day with a spirits tasting hosted by Melrose Medical Treatment about Melrose General. You fixed that, Michelle. Melrose General Medical Treatment. I don't know. You got to tell me.
Don't
Anyway,
worry, Sam. We have plenty. Sam, don't worry. We have plenty of time to still work on planning the last 16 minutes of the show. It's not too late. Don't worry about it. Buckaloo. Here's what I'm going to tell you.
It's in the comments. You can read it in the comments.
Read it in the comments. Buckaloo sells the booze.
That's it.
Go
There you go.
Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m.
All right.
Yes.
Jen, what's happening at the Cultural
Okay,
Council?
so also in town. So November 1st was the state deadline for all of the local cultural councils. So Melrose Cultural Council is currently in the throes of reviewing the grant applications that we've received this year for arts and culture. We have, I believe, there's 33 applicants. And I can't say anything more about it.
People, when you say in the throes, Jenna, you're like, I think we should support this. And no, we should. Is it really animated? Like, what's it like on the inside?
On the inside, well, you can write. So there's a scoring criteria. It's not all random. There's actually a scoring criteria, and you have to adhere to both the state guidelines and then our own local priorities.
All open to interpretation.
It's there. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. But there's local guidelines that are our local guidelines here in Melrose are informed by an annual community survey that we have to do every year. So there's a numeric scoring and ranking, but you also can put in comments, and then we do talk about it. But the point is during COVID it was slow, and a lot of people were not able to execute on their ideas and their some of the events and things that they typically produce for us. And so it was really nice to see a lot of things come back, both old and new. So that's good.
Hey, our guests aren't watching the show. They're talking. They're having their own side conversation. I can see them in the back room.
They're filling up their kindness punch. All right, let's get going and bring them on.
All right.
All right, are we skipping over the
we'll do that
compost?
Yep, we'll do real quick the compost. I put that in there because there's the COP26 meeting in Glasgow. Everyone's minds are on climate change, at least in part. This is a local person in Melrose. It's high school senior Kate Sikkema, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. Mm-hmm. And she produced a video with the help of some local folks around town, MTV, Mayor Paul Broder, the DPW here in Melrose, and she created this video on how to compost, what the ins and the outs of composting are, and the need for composting.
I'm going to need to do a deeper dive, right? Because I watched a little bit of this, and she said, don't put your food waste in the trash. And here I am thinking I'm doing a great service because that's going to help the trash.
Right.
She says, no. She says
don't
no, you keep
that.
it separate. She goes, if it gets burned, that slows the whole process down because it's heavy and wet. And
right.
B, if it's in a landfill, it doesn't have enough oxygen to decompose. So
right, and there's also a methane release. Methane's really actually worse than CO2 as a greenhouse gas, and so we want to avoid the methane release as well. So it's a good video. It's on the City of Melrose's recycling page website. If you want to watch the video, so good job, Kate Sikkema.
Yes, good job.
Yeah,
all right, here we go.
cool.
Let's bring our guests up.
The future. Are they coming? There we go.
I don't know what's happening. Nobody's in charge. Everybody's in charge. Nobody's in charge.
Hands free. Hi.
Hello, Melrose
Hi
Kindness Warriors, Mary Beth Darwin and Stephanie Nelson. Good to see you guys again. You're muted. Unmute yourselves.
Yeah.
Coming.
All right, there you go.
No,
There
you go. Hi, guys.
Hey, we got you.
Hi, thanks for having us.
There you are.
All right.
There they are. Look at that.
And we'll give you guys a toast. If you guys remember the first time we ever had you on the show, and then for our dope holiday hullabaloo, we created Kindness Punch in your honor.
Yeah.
And it was really just about whatever Tom Catalini had in his kitchen that day.
Here's the
There it
recipe
is.
right
That's
here.
the original,
Recipe.
original official Melrose Kindness Punch recipe.
The most important ingredient, kindness.
Kindness.
Yeah.
The last one, yes.
So how are you guys? What are you up to this year?
We're great. We're looking forward to next Saturday. Actually, this year, very exciting. We're going to be doing kindness events on Friday, the 19th, and on Saturday, the 20th, because we want to make sure that everybody who's closed on the weekends can participate.
So on the 19th, we'll have a huge presence in all of the elementary schools, the middle school, the high school, as well as we're showering the hospital with kindness, both staff and patients.
Yeah, we think we have almost 1,000 elementary school students writing to senior citizens in our community.
Wow.
Then we have the middle school writing cards and letters to the hospital, both patients and staff. And the high school students will be writing letters to their favorite educators.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I know That's one thing that I really love this year was kind of getting a little bit more integrated. As Stephanie knows, she's on our chat list for the Lincoln PTO. But
Lincoln is crushing it. Shout out to the Lincoln there.
Yeah, Kim. Let's shout out Kim.
We love you, Kim.
Yep, it was a wonderful opportunity for us as a community to get creative on how we want to show our kindness. So we're doing a few different things, but one of them is we were first collecting books for our library, but any books that the librarians don't snag for the shelves, we'll be redonating to the rest of the community on next Friday. And then we have like the letters as well, but then we also at our glow stick party made notes to teachers, over 100, I think, leaves in the shape of leaves, and we're putting a big. We painted today like a tree out of cardboard, and we're putting that in the teachers' lounge, in the staff lounge. So it's been fun to kind of just like get creative and do stuff.
Yeah,
it's been good. So thank you for providing that platform, because otherwise, what else would we be doing?
If I can just give your viewers a little bit of history. Last year, the Roosevelt School really ran with the concept of writing a letter to our seniors. During the pandemic, our senior citizens were especially isolated.
Yeah.
And so Roosevelt wrote, drew a little picture and wrote a note. Dear senior, my name's Luke. I like chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. What do you like to eat? And it was just this really sweet, innocent note, but the seniors treasured them, and we're still actually getting thank you notes. And the seniors actually wrote back to us and said, is there any chance we can find out if Luke got that truck from Santa?
Wow.
So part of why we've established our own nonprofit, we're very excited. Melrose Time is an official nonprofit now.
Whoa.
Wow, congratulations.
So it's to fund kindness initiatives on an ongoing basis. So maybe we actually establish an ongoing pen pal program between our elementary schools and some of the senior housing. This year, one of the letters from Lincoln School that'll be going to a senior said, what was it like? What was the world like when you were a child? I mean, that in and of itself, just think about that connection that's going to make the senior feel. We're kindness nerds, so we got goosebumps.
My kids used to ask me, they said, Dad, when you used to go camping, were you afraid of the dinosaurs?
I love the back and forth element to the letter writing, that it really kind of goes deep and gets these relationships going. And I know logistically it probably makes it harder to kind of keep matching people up. But it just creates a deeper relationship when you're writing back and forth like that. I really love that. That's really interesting. There's a lot of wisdom in there, in addition to kindness on both sides, right? We've talked about the senior words of wisdom, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like giving these kids the experience and the stories that these seniors would have to share. There's a ton of opportunity for us to kind of connect those different communities and different generations.
So, go ahead, Mary Beth.
Well, it's funny. This is our 6th annual. And so 5 years ago, we started by telling people to buy each other a cup of coffee. How can I be kind? Just buy someone a cup of coffee. And now, we are on the journey along with Melrose, because we're learning that there's so many deeper ways to be kind. Although it's certainly always going to be nice to buy someone a cup of coffee. I went and talked to the school committee tonight, and Stephanie talked to them last week and talked a little bit about what Melrose Random Acts of Kindness Day is. But I really wanted to go back because I've been a pretty vocal parent in school committee meetings over the year. And it occurred to me that over the years, I should say, I mean, my youngest is 19 now, so it's been a long time. But I never really sat there in that chair in public comment and said, thank you for your kindness, because what those people do civically, how they dedicate themselves to our community, is an act of kindness that goes far beyond buying coffee. And the same is true with the letter writing. So we're really learning how to deepen and enrich what we're asking for in kindness.
And
I think it's great. So it's like the give a gobble thing. Like part of that is, physically going and getting, and doing something and participating. When you talk about writing, that's just like such a wonderful kind of lost art, and the fact that it doesn't transmit instantly and it's not this instant response, that there's some time and space and different perspectives connecting, and the fact that like all these things don't, or many of the things, maybe most of the things, don't even have to cost money, right? So like sit down and have a cup of coffee together might be a much more profound act of kindness than throwing your $5 or whatever. So it's just fascinating how you've opened it up and kind of deepened it, like you say.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
That's fine. I was going to say it's also a very personal experience to write letters. You can see the handwriting, which is different than if you're reading an email from somebody, and it takes time. So you spent time to put this together. So I like that aspect as well, that kids are learning how to communicate in a new forum that these folks really appreciate, I'm sure. So
this is new app, kids. We call it pen and paper.
It's a new invention.
Yeah, you can get it at Staples, and
So we do have some viewers who are newer to Melrose, or some, I think I came just in time right before Kindness Day the year before. And can you talk a little bit more about how it came about? What's the history behind Kindness Day, just to remind us how we got here?
Sure. So in 2015, kind of an unfortunate event happened at the Melrose Middle School. A very small number of kids, after watching a TV show, decided to go
Not
ahead.
this one, just to be clear. Sorry, just go ahead.
No, they watched a TV show called
South Park.
It doesn't matter. I was just kidding. Go ahead.
And I guess South Park is a really tongue-in-cheek show, and they were talking about prejudice, and they said November 20th is Kick a Ginger Day, so go out and kick anyone with red hair. And I do believe that the intent of the show was to kind of bring focus on prejudice and how silly it is. But when middle schoolers are watching it, there's always different interpretations. So I had a middle school child at the time who was not involved, doesn't have red hair, and wasn't kicking anyone. But I did get the communication from the school, and it just made me so sad. I remember just feeling like I just wanted to curl up in a ball and just go away. And so instead of doing that, I said, I'm going to start just focusing on kindness, specifically on November 20th. Kind of like taking the power back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first year. And the second year I met Stephanie, and she has been turbocharging ever since. It's just getting wild.
And that's wonderful, because again, you took it back, which I really love. And I think the timing of Kindness Day and you guys coming on the show is impeccable, because I think there have been numerous events in this community, including today, where there's interpretation and miscommunication, and social media is out of control, and we're not being as kind and having kind conversations. And so I'm curious how we turn that around. How do we take the narrative back on that, or turn the power around, or I forget the poignant words you said, but how do we do that now for these issues that are coming up here?
Mary Beth will be able to speak to this more eloquently, but I went to the school committee meeting 2 weeks ago, and as a lot of you know, I sort of joke that it was called Halloween Gate, but there was a lot of really negative conversations that were taking place on social media and on both sides. And when I went to the school committee meeting, I felt like, wait a minute, is this strange timing for me to be talking about kindness and kindness in the midst of all of this, deep-rooted divisiveness, right? So I took it as an opportunity to say, if we could all start from a place of kindness before we have those conversations, I do think keyboard warriors feel a lot more powerful behind their keyboard that they wouldn't necessarily say face to face. But if we could consciously take a moment to start with kindness, even if we disagree passionately, just to start from a place of kindness and civility. And I do think maybe it wouldn't always devolve into what it seems to become lately.
Yeah, I'm just to add to that, when this Kick a Ginger Day happened, personally, I was not upset with the school. And I wasn't really upset with the kids. I felt like they were misguided, but the vitriol that was spewed within the parent community was just disturbing to me. And I think even though we are doing so much with kindness at the school level and we're getting kids to write letters and connect with different demographics, um, this is not a holiday just for children. And it is unfair of us to say to our children, you must be kind and take care of each other when we're not doing it ourselves. So yeah, I mean that's something that we have learned to live every day. And when you start to call yourself a kindness warrior, you got to really be introspective all the time about whether or not you're leading with the right thing.
Yeah.
So this is
That's
where
great.
I'm in the woods with Tom Shampoo, and he was a little bit embarrassed by that video, but it was actually quite generous and kind of him to share his knowledge and enthusiasm for it. And I just think I really did mean to honor you with that, Tom, because I really do think that is just a nice thing to share that. And I think that's the spirit you're talking about, and to be a little bit more kind of open to being on that footing is a very defensive posture. And I think many people would tell you, maybe in this Halloween gate thing, that they feel like they're being attacked on either side. I'm protecting my child from being excluded. I'm protecting my child from, their tradition that they expect or whatever. So it's just like, but it's like, it's the very first instinct is like, and it's like,
well, also that's sort of faster and rapid fire. Having deliberate, intentional, thoughtful, kind conversations, frankly, takes more time and takes more effort that people are not putting in when you're just like you said, the keyboard warriors or whatever on social media. Like it takes a lot more mental and emotional, thoughtful effort to sit and have a thoughtful dialogue with someone. I think people just aren't taking the time to do that.
It's almost as
so
if
powerful when you do. Oh my
right.
God.
Yeah. Right.
It's powerful than having
It's work. It's work, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yep.
And
I was going to say, it's almost as if we need to have the day include staying off of social media for one day. Like, because I think the parents and the kids working together, my kids are older as well. They're in college, but they were in middle school during that during that issue that you mentioned before. But I do think that the parents equally should be committed to saying, here's what I'm going to do. And you're right. It's easy to be unkind and nasty to people when you're behind the screen and no one can call you out. So I feel like, so I feel like staying off of social media for a day could be one way to be kind by saying, I'm not going to bother with that,
Yeah.
Or to make a conscious decision to say, okay, I'm going to, even if I'm on social media, I will not engage in any kind of heated argument, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so
Maybe take a step back and say, okay, no, not today. Today I'm going to just be on.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something that happened a few years ago. I mean, Melrose Kind is a huge social media campaign. So us staying off of social media around that time would make things more difficult.
Yeah.
However, a few years ago, there were some people on, I think, the community page talking about Melrose Kind in the day. And a gentleman commented, "This is a fake holiday." And I remember, Stephanie and I just left each other and we're really high on this whole kindness. And she texted me and she said, "Oh my goodness, did you see what this guy wrote?" And I did. And so I responded to him and I said, "Let me just tell you a little bit about the background and why we decided to do it." And this is a guy I who's kind of been on social media, kind of snarky. And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean that." I think sometimes when you call people out, they
kill him with kindness. That's how we do it, Mary Beth.
That's it.
It's so funny you say that, because I was just going to say, a lot of people kind of roll their eyes, when we come in and we talk about Random Acts of Kindness Day and Melrose Kind and the movement. But it's funny if someone says to us, "Oh, I'm kind every day," we say, "Excellent," and we're celebrating you that day because this is powerful stuff. Great things are happening in and around our city all the time, and we're just celebrating it. And if it helps one person kind of have awareness and think, okay, how can I be better? Then it's all worth it.
Yeah.
So I love that, and we are so like this should make national news. Freaking
Yeah.
unicorns dancing in the street is what we are here in Melrose.
Do you want me to bust
That's
out the
this-
unicorn,
Yes,
Sam?
please.
Every day, like
The unicorn
the
should
answer
be
to
out
that
every day.
question will always be yes, Stephanie.
Yes.
Anytime you're ready.
I
we
do
are-
have
we-
to say, this past April 9th, when someone posted on the Melrose community group, is Unicorn Day happening again? I was like,
I know.
okay.
Yeah.
I know. We gotta. Well,
That's a
Yeah.
fake
I love
holiday. What are you talking about?
It's fine. Bring it.
it's not. It has an official proclamation, and it's not.
Oh boy.
But
Yeah.
so this is who we are. We are one community
Right.
open to all. We are super proud of how kind we do all of these wonderful, positive things really well. And yet in an instant, we slip back into these cesspools of this divisiveness. And I know I'm keep going back to it because it is again fresh. Halloween Gate seems like it was 3 scandals ago here. And I'm so, and I'm taking the show down at Pap. I'm getting really like frustrated, and it's getting me a little angry.
It's feeling like a pattern. Yeah, I
Yep.
agree.
And
I agree.
we fall into this, and I just want we talk about leadership and
Well, but you
swift
have to like not fall into, or we all, I think, could do better to try to not fall into the trap.
I'm
Right?
not
Mary
falling into
Beth
the
just showed you. She just demonstrated,
I don't
right?
fall into
She
the
doesn't.
trap,
She doesn't mean
but I'm-
herself. She means our
no.
community largely.
Well, she's
If
part of the
I-
community. She's
Tom,
lamenting
if I could
this.
come over and through the
She's lamenting this right
yes,
now.
because every time like Melrose makes national news for something putrid, it breaks my heart.
It hurts. Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
terrible. Like I
Yeah.
love this community through and through,
I
and
will-
we worked so hard to make it to the positive
mis-
energy that you have now.
This-
And
okay,
there
but there's
there should be no one proud of us being on the national news for their issue, even if for their issue, if it's like that. It's just that is not a win. It's just not.
We have
so
reached out to Jimmy Kimmel, and we have said, while it is not as sexy as controversy, we hope you'll shed some light on what's happening on the 19th and the 20th, because it's bigger than
Right.
the punchline of the opening monologue.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff. And like I said, it's not as sexy as controversy, but it's pretty important stuff that should be happening.
Absolutely.
We feel in many
Well, I
ways.
think
Good
we
for
can
you guys.
also. I'm trying to figure out how to get ahead of these things.
Right.
So you have to, I think, recognize, Sam, that there's machinery well beyond our control that's at play here. So what these guys are talking about is small acts within your day-to-day life that you can control. Some of this stuff, and the way it gets up to Jimmy Kimmel, is well beyond our control. And there's like machinery and people working to do this on a bigger system, bigger than Melrose. So, I don't know. Let's not get caught up in that. Like, I'm not really worried about Melrose's brand across the world. Like, I'm worried about, sitting down with you, Sam, and we enjoy a cup of
I
coffee
literally
together.
have my mute button ready for you, Tom. It's not about the Melrose
Right.
brand. It
Right.
is about
It's about-
we are attacking each other for sometimes we have to fight back for good reasons, but we are starting toxic conversations for the wrong reasons. And that is what really gets to me. And I don't engage on Facebook. I'm there and I read, but I want to figure out with our kindness warriors, how do we get ahead of these things? How do we get ahead of there's a Halloween Gate? I know we want to have leaders who have open communication and transparency and accountability, and I get that. But let's get ahead of this with kindness, as Stephanie said.
And conversation,
We can
yeah.
have these discussions in a healthier way so that we don't go down these cesspool rabbit holes with
everything that comes up.
anonymity and hatred. Today's thing made me miss Melrose messages very badly. It's just not. Anyway. I can't wait to celebrate on Kindness Day, on the Kindness Weekend, because there is such good stuff here. But this is where my head has been. And if you ladies have any solutions or want to participate in figuring this out, how we can get together and have deep
We would love
discussions
to.
before we get divisive. I am here for it.
There's lots of other there's really great partners that you can find in the Human Rights Commission and in Melrose Together, and who knows who else, but in our creative community, I mean,
I would just say, Sam, that what works for me is to recognize that most people are coming from a place of good intentions, and they do let their passions sometimes get away from them. But I don't think that there are many people in our city or really in our world who come from a place of bad intentions. I think that
Agreed.
things just get messed up along the way. And
I agree.
and I think that what has been eye-opening for us in getting so many people to get involved with Melrose Kind is we don't ask them about their politics or where they stand on the school committee or on the mascot or on Halloween even. We ask them to come from a place of kindness and to spread that out. And I think as we all start to do that, the other stuff kind of falls away. And I think that's where we need to start.
Yeah.
Boom!
It's
Next level, Sam. That's the next level.
No.
I think of it in terms of a behavior, right? I missed that. What?
I muted him. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Well, that's not very kind to you, Tom Catalini, boy.
Getting it all out
Oh,
before the
she
19th.
muted me. She muted me, and I'm the one who's unkind. Are you kidding me, Shampoo?
No, I said that was
Stephanie
not
and Mary
kind
Beth are like,
for Tom Catalini.
Oh, thank you, Tom. I appreciate
on
it.
our t-shirts, you
I
guys,
appreciate you.
on
Thank you.
our t-shirts on the back, it says they look like they're not getting along, that they don't even like each other. Like that's what our fans say about us. So
I just want to make a comment or observation, because I feel like what we're talking about in some ways is sort of creating behaviors or new behaviors or a change in behavior. And I like the fact, going back to the kids writing letters, if you're teaching young kids the behaviors that can be interpreted or are viewed as being kind, then you'll behave that way more often, because you'll see it's just a change or decision you can make to say or not say something, to engage or not engage in a certain way. But it really comes down to making a decision and to acting or behaving a certain way. And I like the kids having that view that writing a letter, for example, is a great way to be kind. I love it. So I think it's terrific. I do.
And you're that same structure, you're connecting with somebody outside of your normal social circle.
Right, which is a kindness in itself.
Right, you're getting another perspective, but also just to kind of get out of the filter bubble for a second. You know how the third graders are with their filter bubble.
And in that letter that Stephanie talked about, where the student wrote, "What was the world like when you were young?"
Yeah.
The sentence before that was, "My favorite color is orange." And the sentence after that was, "Do you like video games?" Because it just
stream of consciousness.
and it
And
just
the
kind of
innocence.
shows the innocence, and what we should all just be talking about things that we can get along about. Like, let's start there first.
How old do you have to be to get one of these letters? I might want to get on the list here.
Okay.
That sounds like that's some correspondence.
Tom, we got you.
That's some correspondence right there.
And one thing, so we are now a nonprofit, and one idea that we have for the future is we find another Melrose, perhaps a Melrose that could really use some kindness, and we adopt them and we start sending kindness to them.
Tennessee.
For no reason at all,
Yeah, we've looked up some of the Melroses. We'll help you with that.
We have a van where we can record and do the show live. If
We'll go to any Melrose.
We would probably fly there
on this continent and on the contiguous lower 48.
A kindness road trip would be kindness road trip documentary would be amazing.
Mary Beth said, "You guys can ride together and we'll fly and meet you."
We'll have a big smiley face on the side of the van. It's gonna be all kindness all day.
Yep.
All right, I think with that vision of an even kinder future, I think that's maybe a good place to wrap.
Yep.
Stephanie and Mary Beth, thank you so much
Thank
for,
you.
We're so
for,
grateful
Tom,
for
Tom,
everything.
for helping calm
It's just-
Sam's nerves down a little bit.
Oh
And,
my God.
Oh,
Ah.
Mary Beth knows I'm an easy crier.
Tom, I just want to jump in to say, remind us again of all the specifics before we go,
Yes.
where they
Good-
can learn
good call.
more and when.
So we're Melrose Kind everywhere. So melrosekind.com. We're Melrose Kind on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And our email is melrosekind@gmail.com.
Great.
Great. That's
And
perfect.
we will
Thank you.
be at a place that we call the Kindness Corner, which is right outside the YMCA. That's where you'll see our this year's interactive mural. So you'll be able to stand in the mural and take some cool pictures. And we'll also have some other fun things going on.
Cool.
And
That's
new this
fantastic.
year, we'll have a schedule for both Friday and Saturday. If anyone wants to participate, if you want to join us with the Girl Scouts showering the police department with kindness, if you want to see the Boy Scouts do it for the fire department, you'll be able to see where we are if you want to get a sneak peek at some of the cool stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's
Thank you
great.
so much.
Guys, for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Thanks so
guys.
much for coming
Very
back.
grateful.
And will you
And
be
now
will you be kind enough to dance it off with us?
Oh, sure.
I don't know.
All right, here we go.
We can make us all equal. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, and with that, folks, we'll see you around this fine, kind town.
Be kind to one another.